Hi everybody. Hi everybody. This is your friend Daniel Hodgins. So we're back again on our friend screen rant. And what are we talking about today? Well, given that it's only like almost going on 6 in the morning where I am, out here in Albuquerque, let me update you on something that is kind of rather popular right now in the universe. There is a very popular series that's on Netflix right now called K-pop Demon Hunters. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. My sister and brother, they love the K-pop Demon Hunters. Okay, K-pop Demon Hunter. The sequel needs to make it different than, like I said, the sequel needs to make one big change to the series overall. Alright, so K-pop Demon Hunter sequel needs to make one big change to. Okay, so what's that change? Well, we're about to find out. The popular new show, K-pop Demon Hunters, continues to dominate the world at Netflix, beating out blockbusters with the big movie stars. However, this sequel has not been officially announced though. However, it's in early development right now. Netflix begins to plan out what the second one is going to be. However, there's only so much little we can talk about, considering that I myself barely remember what happened in the first one. As I barely know what happened in the first one, I can't really say too much about it. But on the plus side, that's okay. I need to find out why the hell I can't prop my phone on my books. But anyway, so Netflix is starting to write the story for the sequel. Okay? While a lot of Demon Hunters and their success can be attributed to the record breaking soundtrack, soundtrack, the music, the film and the story and characters also help propel the movie into a stratosphere. The villains are pretty good, and the support cast is pretty good, but the central trio, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, they're absolutely some of the biggest reasons why the movie was so fun. Now, as far as the first movie, I can't tell you too much about that unless you want to talk to my sister, then she can talk about it. But the K-pop Demon Hunter sequel would need to make some big changes if the movie wants to find the same amount of success as the first one. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, one big character change could shake up the chemistry in the sequel to make it more interesting. Zoe or Mira, they should be the main character in the second one. And we're going to tell you why. While we know K-pop Demon Hunters is focused more on the Hunter X group and their eternal dynamics, Rumi is undoubtedly the protagonist on the film. She was given the biggest story arc, however, brought to most of the reason why there was a change of the story, from the fact that she was redeemed after and ultimately coming to join the Demon Hunters ending to save her friends, Zoe and Mira, from Grenma. Okay, Zoe and Mira were relegated to be support characters that have already existed to the story. However, Rumi has progressed along her character arc, and that's not a bad thing. As we should know, the movie stays on a laser-focused idea on Rumi and her journey, as it introduced her to an entirely new world of demons and demon hunters, but it does not leave the other two members to feel like they're part of the movie, and they feel like they're underserved. So we already know three members: Rumi, Mira, Zoe. Okay? Even in the even if they got more screen time, you gotta remember Zoe and Mira both made great impression to the team, as they are in the movie. However, the K-pop Demon Hunter sequel should build on that just like we saw from the first one, and give the other girls a chance to show off flair to their characters. Rumi, although should obviously still be part of the next film, but simply kind of set back a little bit. Just a little bit, so that Mira and Zoe can get some show too, as her character has already been explored to a greater degree. The next movie could give us a deeper glimpse on Zoe and Mira and their history, so that way it's only fair, so that way you don't have too much. So, specifically driving them to become hunters alongside Rumi. There is surely time to explore this idea on their past and their recent development to the sequel, and how they can explore it. Additionally, it gives Netflix all the time in the world to decide how to dedicate the girls from K-pop Demon Hunters. And you can only watch it on Netflix. You can only watch it on Netflix. Okay, since we already did a video on update on Fantastic Four, we are going to try to, I guess we can make this a screen rant double. Okay, so this is going to be our next screen rant double. A screen rant double, in case you're new on the channel, is basically I talk more content than just one area of content. Okay, so you want to know what's going on with Toy Story 5. Yes, we talked about Toy Story 5 a few times actually this year. Toy Story 5. Yes, Toy Story 5. They said that they now say Toy Story 5 is now giving us another version of Buzz Lightyear. Yes, Buzz Lightyear. You know, Buzz Lightyear. He's going to be having an evil counterpart. Yes, just like we saw him on Toy Story 2. Yeah, Toy Story 2 in 1999. Remember Toy Story 2 from 1999? Where they had Buzz Lightyear, and then he was in the toy store, and then there was more Buzz Lightyears? Yeah. Okay. With less than a year to go before we see Toy Story 5, Pixar is now sharing the idea to the sequel. This will get released in the summer next year. Although we know Woody and Buzz and Jessie and a whole bunch of characters are returning. However, at the convention for Disney called the Convention of D23, they captured a never before seen image on the character of Buzz Lightyear. However, there are also some other details I want to tell you about this movie as well. There also is, like we said before, there is a villain in this movie, and the villain is basically a tablet. Yes, because it's toys versus technology. That is what I told you before, if you actually been watching my episode in order. So as we know, the villain is basically a tablet named Lilypad. As the toys have to battle for attention against their electronic toy enemies, the frog-like tablet becomes a threat. While it appears to be smiling, it has a plan to undermine the rest of the toys. There have also been some photos that we saw online on Twitter that you can also follow from the Disney Twitter user Scott Gustin. Reveals the movie will feature a group of Buzz Lightyears, just like we had the redemption arc like we saw with Buzz Lightyear and all the other Buzz Lightyear we saw from Toy Story 2 in 1999. However, it's going to be like that again, except it's going to have a group of Buzz Lightyears, just like the movie in 1999 where we had Toy Story 2, where you know Buzz Lightyear and the gang have to go save Woody from some crazy mad toy collector. Okay. We also have an idea where Buzz Lightyear is going to be evil. Yes, evil. This is a concept we have saw on the movies only twice. We saw it twice. We saw it in Toy Story 2, like when they were, going to try to save Woody. And then there was another time where Buzz became weird, That was when they went to the daycare center and Sunnyside Daycare Center. Like when Lotso Huggenbear, Lotso Huggenbear tried to change the setting on the back of Buzz Lightyear to make him talk Spanish instead of English. Well, kind of weird, but weird display of language. But yes, there are 2 times that Buzz Lightyear was messed with. So, don't forget that. They also appear in the first scene. This image, again, means that there will be 4 Buzz Lightyears posing to be evil. Yes. What does that mean for the story and the script for Toy Story 5? Well, considering they borrow a lot of stuff from the second film from 1999, like I've told you before, the Toy Story cast has always been a very shifting group, and the movies have regularly introduced new toys, new places, and a new owner. But we only had 2 owners. So we only had Andy, and then we had Bonnie. But again, there's Andy, and then there's Bonnie. But again, Bonnie was more irresponsible, whereas Andy was, he grew up and then moved away, and then he went to college. And beyond that, we don't know. However, the next sequel will build on that legacy in ways where it offers the watchers an opportunity to get to know what happens with the new toys, outside of the fact we got action figures and piggy banks. Electronic toys, more like tablets and video games, will accurately connect to the reality that we know today in 2025, given younger viewers are more familiar with those toys. While we know back in my generation, back in 1995, electronic toys were not there yet. However, Toy Story 5 Villainous Electronic Toy will promote a positive message along grounding children of reality, while not also shying away from the toys of the past. However, the Buzz Lightyear returning with clones should be an awesome idea to bring more to the story, given that we had the clones of Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story 2 from 1999. I remember watching that because I was like a baby at the time when that movie came out. So I remember. So, our take of the new Toy Story characters. It's difficult to predict and say where the new characters are going to be, but there are a couple of them that have been shared online. Especially Lilypad. If Lilypad can be as devastating and terrible as Lotso Huggenbear, it should be a very exciting movie. Should be, without a doubt, because Pixar has given us success with the franchise before. However, some people and critics who do get to see the movie before we do have oftentimes said the scene of this movie is very hilarious. Although, don't shy away from Toy Story yet. Don't shut down on Toy Story yet, because this is going to be really weird. But like I said, they have a great start, and it's more revealed in the characters. Maybe in the more months to come, I'll do another update on Toy Story. So, remember guys, summer 2026. Remember, summer 2026, you can go watch Toy Story.